Actually, Stefan contacted me, I think it was 2005, 2006, and he wondered back then if I would be able to record their debut album. So I was already in touch with Stefan in the early stage of Obscura. But back then I was busy with other projects, so I decided to wait a bit. We got in touch again for the second album, Cosmogenesis. Actually, I decided to join, and now I'm back after a 9-year break. Well, Stefan and we were frequently in touch. We wrote and I asked him how a tour was. Actually, in the second or third email, he told me that there would be a lineup change. He was wondering if I would be open to the idea to rejoin Obscura. After a couple of days, I decided to rejoin the band. Stefan was already in touch with Christian. Christian still had to make up his mind, but actually they both were wondering if I would be able to join again. I've been doing different things in those 9 years, you know, playing jazz, playing experimental music. And I really felt like, hey, this could be a nice challenge to do another record, to see what happens if we build it up from here again. Yeah, we met again during a video shoot, our first video shoot for this new lineup. It was really good to see each other again. We have been in touch all the time via Skype to write, you know, so the whole writing process basically was on distance, but it was really good to be together again. Together with David, our new drummer, a really good atmosphere. Maybe compared with the earlier days, I would say it feels more balanced now. Things are relaxed, there's a good atmosphere, we have a lot of fun. Yeah, also working-wise, I think we are all on one line, you know. We worked on distance, sending the first song structures. They came from Stefan and Christian. Both are main composers for the album. Their songs are often giving me a lot of ideas. I'm not a session musician in many ways, but with these guys I can really easily write bass lines. Since it's also based a lot on Baroque, there's a lot of counterpoint involved. So I think I've never done so much counterpoint bass lines on an album. It's also demanding, but the good thing is we had so much time to write. Time to think about ideas, and it gave me also space to consider other ideas, other options as bass arrangements. The good thing with the music of Obscura is that there is a lot of room for bass. On this album it's maybe a little bit different compared with the Omnivium and the Cosmogenesis album that I recorded with them, but there's a lot of dynamics on the albums. There's always space, for example, the intro of Forsaken, the intro and outro, there's a bass melody. This is all easy, doable on distance. Working on my own studio in Amsterdam and adding my ideas, just sending back, see what they think. Actually, most that I sent was just fine. You know, what I always check when I record things, if it's really playable. And I figured out that this was a good balance between guitars and bass and drums. I see myself not as a metal bass player, but also not as a jazz bass player. I play several styles, but also very melodic-oriented bass playing. The good thing with Obscura is that there's always a certain balance between fast technical riffing, but also where bass takes over melody. It works very well if Christian delivers me an idea. It takes not so much effort for me to bring some ideas. I have just a small room where I work with headphones mainly, with high-end preamps, and I would say like a particular way to record bass direct with 3 DI channels to make sure that there is a good way to mix the bass guitar in the production. So I use a dry DI line for the low, which is centered, mono, and I use a stereo DI left-right, so it's 3 channels in total, to have the mid-highs and the highs run stereo through the production. And in this way you can have, let's say, a good fretless stereo sound, while you keep the low very tight and clear.
First album I heard from Obscura was Cosmogenesis. I think I was in high school. And the thing that stuck out for me from the start was their bass sound. It wasn't as distorted, and it was like really forward. And the drums too. Just like the way the rhythm section defined the band was not like I heard before. Any other metal band do, really. Yeah, just a special thing. I just know when I heard a mix after that, it would be Obscura, you know, or someone trying to sound like Obscura.
But you have to be reasonable. As a bass player, you cannot always be full in the picture, because in that sense you can also destroy a song. You know, so it's also up to a producer where to highlight bass and where to push it a little bit back.